evening, everyone. Welcome. It's 7 o'clock, so we'll get started with our meeting to respect your time. We have a pretty light agenda this evening, so I want to get through and get everybody back on their way as soon as possible. All right, a few announcements. One, selfishly, I wanted to mention I am representing the RCAC on the Greenway Master Plan. We had a meeting this afternoon just talking about and me learning about them, and they haven't updated the Greenway since 1989. And I had no idea. They updated, that was the last expansion that they did, which was up to 270 miles. And now they've done small things, but now they want to connect everything and they're giving themselves a year on this project to get ideas, to outreach to everyone in the city to get their opinions. And today was their first meeting. So I'm going to, with your blessing, I would love to have them come out here and really talk to us about the Greenway and what their plan is. Yes, sir.
So what night was the bicycle meeting downtown?
Monday?
Dylan, Monday evening?
I think Monday.
No, it
last
wasn't Monday. It was one day last week. And one of the things they were discussing
I was really excited.
is if they're doing the bike lanes right around down in the warehouse district connecting to Glenwood South, and also eventually go down West Street and connecting to the Greenway down by Dick's.
Yeah, so I mean, I was really excited to hear it and be part of that first process, but Josh informed me I skipped because I was really excited about the Greenway project. Let's go around the table and do introductions just for everyone to make sure we all say hey to our place. We'll start with Ms. Chalisa.
Chalisa Williams, Central CAC.
Ulysses Lane, Southeast CAC.
Kate Chaton, Atlantic CAC.
Michael Sullivan, North CAC.
Deborah Ford, good evening. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. East CAC.
Joshua Gill, West CAC.
Christina Jones, Northwest CAC.
Robert Rice, Glenwood CAC.
Will Hooker, Hillsborough Wade CAC.
Judy Coggins, Glenwood.
Michi Voita, West CAC.
Eugene Weeks, South CAC.
John Henshaw, Southwest CAC.
And Bob Edgerton, Southwest.
Thank you, guys. I apologize for jumping the gun on that, but welcome everyone to the meeting. And so it's really just wanting to let you know that as we invite people, and I want to hear more about the city, projects that are going on in the city and how we can be that advocate for them to make sure that we get the word out to our citizens in our individual CACs. So if you have those same opportunities or you know of some projects that need a voice and need a platform to speak, to reach a larger audience, please bring that to us and let's get that out there so we can do what we're here to do. My other note, another note that I had is that I spoke this past city council meeting on behalf of the RCAC to our new council. It was a very, very pleasant, I had a very good time speaking and just telling them who we are and what we're doing and that we are very excited to join in partnership with them and build this to a new level. They were very happy that we were there, and look forward to building those relationships with our individual city council. So if you're Southeast, if you're Southwest or South, wherever you are, just building that relationship with your city council and helping us grow that to a positive place would be very, very helpful. I will be giving quarterly updates. So every few months I will go just to give them a heads up on what we're doing, what goals we're reaching, and if we need their assistance or guidance on anything. So I would love to see you guys there. I usually go to the 1 o'clock city council meeting because we are on the agenda. So it's not the petition part where I speak for 3 minutes. We are physically on the agenda. And if there are things that you would like me to present, I'd be more than happy to be that advocate. And I'd love to have you guys there. Awesome. Yes,
Question.
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, did you? Did we have pending items from the last leadership that met with city council that have not been resolved? Do we know that?
So there was, the last thing was when the bylaws were approved in December of 2018. And we had spent the year going back and forth, going to the city council meetings every quarter, and with Michelle, or you were with me when Shelley and I used to go up there and ask. So this meeting was, and I said it in my presentation, was to say that they were approved in December of 2018. The bylaws were approved. And now is that further discussion if there's any other questions. And they didn't have any questions about it. So that, to me, resolved it, but I'm not sure how you feel about it, Michael.
No, that wasn't exactly what we wanted.
Okay, what did you want?
The question was, does the RCAC report to the city council, or does the RCAC report through community engagement to the city council? Because the gentleman who runs Sheila's department was adamant in one of our meetings that we had to work through him. And we said, no, we don't, because the council said we report to them. So that's an open
we
issue.
report
And the
directly
attorney
to
was
them.
supposed to check the minutes to see what the wording was, and she never
She
came out
never
and
did.
said.
So do they report to city council or to housing and neighborhoods?
Do we have to go through housing, or do we do directly to city
Housing and
council?
neighborhoods.
You report directly to city council. You do report directly to city council.
Sure. Okay. I will definitely bring that point up again.
Talk to the attorney separately.
Talk to the attorney separately.
City attorney.
Okay. Okay, and Shalisa, I'm sorry.
Can you just send an email out whenever you go before council? I would like to support you.
I would love that, yeah.
It's very important for,
Yeah.
to be just you.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, not a problem at all. I'll definitely shoot out an email before. Definitely. Do it quarterly, so what I'll do is I can send out an email tonight just listing the months that I will be there.
You all have a calendar? Do we have a calendar?
We don't, that I know of, Miss Sheila, so I would love that. That would be amazing, if you can, thank you.
You can go in and probably, you can fill in
Uh-huh,
the dates.
definitely. I would love that. I would love your assistance with that. Thank you so much. City attorney, and create RCAC calendar. Okay, and I would love a motion to approve the November minutes, if anyone so moved. Oh, please. Hi, welcome.
And I think James is either on his way or was supposed to be here tonight, but I just wanted to let you know that we received the minutes with the changes that were noted. But we haven't had time to kind of put them into our minutes and present them to us. So I just wanted to let you know that James or our new co-chair, Dana, might come back for a little bit of clarification on that for us. And so I just wanted to note that as
Definitely.
part of the minutes.
Okay, so noted. Give me just one moment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Okay, sorry about that, my friends. And do we need another motion? Because we were in, or can we just
Got a
go?
motion, and we got a second.
Okay, so then, all those in favor of approving the minutes from November, raise your hand. And all those opposed? Awesome. So moved. Thank you very much. On to our retreat. We need to select a date. We are holding space at Wetland Center in Abbott's Creek. So we'll definitely want to vote on a date and a space, and then work on what things you guys want to discuss and get accomplished this year in our retreat, or begin the talks of being accomplished. So the dates, and I had those pulled up. What were the dates again that you sent to me?
For the Wetland Center, the available dates are February 8th, the 15th, and the 29th. Abbott's Creek is only available on February 22nd.
You repeat the wetlands?
The Wetland Center is February 8th, February 15th, and February 29th. Abbott's Creek is February 22nd. And the building opens at 9, so your retreat, if you pick Abbott's Creek, it will begin at 9 instead of 8:30. Usually I get there, set up the food and stuff, so,
We were there before.
yeah.
Close to my home.
It depends.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that takes, I have the 8th, the 15th, so every weekend except for the 1st, which would be a little soon.
Let's don't do the 15th, that's DD&A. District D.
Okay. Okay, so that Saturday.
That's at like 8 in the morning. We could do it later in the.
February, we're gonna have a meeting.
Well, isn't it like very, very early in the morning?
I
We
think
could
it
do
starts
this one at like
8:30.
It starts
10
early,
or
but it's
11.
freaking 11 o'clock before we finish.
Oh,
We could show up at 10, 11 o'clock if that's all right.
let's pick a different date. If we can pick a different date.
Yeah, we can pick a different day, just because, I mean, that's right after Valentine's Day, too. I mean, it's fine.
We'll go from February the 8th at the Wetland Center.
Any other,
Because right after that, other things that's going on. You started early voting on the 13th and going up into the March primary.
the March primary, right, because it's going to be,
Going back in there and people, doing things. So I recommend February the 8th, we can get it out of the way. You don't have to worry about Valentine and other things.
right, and that typically goes from, if we do it at the wetland, we can do 8:30 to, we usually go till 2. And then we have lunch, so it's usually an 8:30 to 12 meeting where we're talking, and then we have lunch, and we're done.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
point. Where is the wetland center?
That's down.
Off of Athens Drive in Southwest.
That's close to you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's one of them.
One of them. That was only available on the 22nd.
There were two
The
options.
8th is the wetlands.
I'm surprised I live
Oh, I was thinking the Woodlands.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, you're thinking on the wrong place.
Are we restricted to a morning meeting?
Yes.
Sheila, are we restricted to a morning meeting? Is that just what we've typically done?
Okay.
Mornings are good. Get done.
Get done.
You guys are killing me. Okay.
I want evening, I don't know about y'all.
I will suggest the evening at Trophy.
All in favor?
Do I have another suggestion of a date? So far I've heard February 8th.
No.
No?
That's good.
Okay.
Does that give
Okay,
us enough
so
time
let's
to do
take
any
that.
preparation or planning
I
or?
like the 8th.
I think so.
Yeah, how much prep do you need? Because that's only a couple weeks from now. Is that enough prep time to get whoever we want?
Okay,
Let's
That's 2
hold that. Let's talk about the agenda items first, and then we can see if that seems feasible to do by the 8th, or if we should do it because of what we want to discuss. So we're moving on to what we want to discuss during our agenda this year. And last year, I was not there. I was out of town, so I am not. I know the year before we talked about what we wanted the CAC to be about and what we wanted done. We formed committees out of that. That's where the bylaws committee came from and all of that. So does anyone have any suggestions on what they want to discuss during the retreat?
Yes.
Go ahead. He's ready. Go ahead, Michael.
Boundary Committee.
Boundary committee.
We
Okay.
want to discuss that, and we want to get approval to release the survey that we developed,
Got it.
which is not really very hard to discuss because I think we've got 5 questions out of the 20 that we started with. So we narrowed it down so people could do it 1, 2, 3.
Great. All right. Boundary committee.
Oh, boundary.
Let's see. If we're going to talk about just the actual physical doing this, 10 minutes. If we're going to talk about whether the boundary committee really should be in existence, 3 hours.
Let's see what other items we'd like to discuss, and then we can talk about time limits after that. Okay, go ahead, Ulysses.
Yeah, a couple other things. Boundary Committee was one of them on my list. I don't know, is it possible, since we have a new mayor, to have some kind of involvement with the new mayor to get some kind of feedback of expectations with the CACs and the RCAC and community engagement?
And are you specifically saying the mayor or city council?
The mayor, we have a new mayor, so I'm saying the mayor
Okay.
first. And city council, if any of them can be present, but this relationship and bond with the new mayor, we need to have that very clear,
Okay.
where she stands and where we stand. Because, you know, last year was really funny about what was going on, and I don't think we need to go through that again.
Right.
So we need to be very
I
clear
think the council is having a retreat the 8th.
on the 8th.
Oh, okay.
What if one of the two
Yeah, why don't we go with them?
at large?
Theirs is good.
It'd be a good opportunity to see the at-large council members, because there are 18 of us, they don't get to visit quite so often as our own district. So if we could actually get to have one or both of the at-large council members, it might be a good
They're gonna be at the same retreat?
conversation.
Yes.
No?
For them to get to know us also.
Yeah. Right, so yes, they will be at the retreat.
Where do they have their retreat?
At the finest hotel
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. The other alternative then, if we can't meet with the mayor, is to discuss topics for discussion with the mayor. And then maybe have a separate meeting. Or maybe have another meeting where we can meet with the mayor. So if that's not possible, the thing is that I think we need to meet with the mayor. We need to have some topics for clarification, future projection for vision, and any issues. There should be any old issues that are being carried over. So we should have new ones. So either way we want to go with that is fine with me, but it should be on the table that we want to meet with the mayor. And then how we want to meet with city council, we can talk about that too. Well, okay.
Sure,
All right,
definitely.
the next thing on my list.
They're visiting, their retreat, they're visiting Raleigh South as part of their day activities. And that is one of my biggest projects, be there be square.
That date.
Sorry, folks.
The next thing is, everybody's familiar with the community engagement process development survey that was being done. All right, and anybody who was involved, they sent a report, 38 pages. All right, now, this is something that we need to be familiar with. And at our retreat, to see if we can have them come and discuss this with us, and then look at those issues of community engagement that can enhance what we're doing as CACs and RCAC, and also see what the heck's going on with them, why we should all be working together, so to make sure that, because the private group that's doing this don't really know anything about how we really work. They came out, they went to meetings, we met with them. I don't know if any of you met with them or not. So
yes, we did.
some of them did. And then they talked about the surveys in here where they came out to some CACs. And they have pictures and everything in here. But they talked about only 2 CACs that went out to give presentations. One was mine, and then was another. The other 8 CACs only wanted electronic surveys sent to them for their people. So they never really came out to your CAC to give their discussion about what they were doing. See, these are the kind of things, I don't know how they get away from us like that should have been coordinated with all of us. Because if they're talking about community engagement, that's one of the biggest issues we've had at several retreats. And so if they're collecting information, we need to look at that and see how that's going to enhance what we're doing. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we need to look at
And this is the same people that came to this meeting and showed us? Or is this a different group? Because we had
It's a different group, I think, yeah. Now, that's another, was that staff, the group that came to us?
Yeah, that was staff.
Okay, that's another issue in itself. And we may need to talk about what is that staff doing? So it's a lot of stuff going on that we need to understand how that impacts us and what it is exactly. So if their staff is doing, this group's doing something, or if they're working together, that all needs to be very, very clear to us.
I think they came over the holidays, like November, December, which is why, we didn't have a meeting.
Yeah.
And I think quite a few people didn't have meetings, and that's why it just kind of slipped through.
Well, on this, I think this was the one when they called about coming out to the CACs about doing this. And I think I referred her and said, look, the way you should do this first is come to the RCAC, present this information, and then we'll see how that comes out to the CACs.
Can you send that? Because I didn't receive that from her. I received that email from you that I responded to, but if you can send this page out so we can all be informed.
Do you know about this? Because what they did, it says here, community engagement, thank you for your input. So anyone that gave any input probably got this. If you didn't give official input, you don't see it. That's why I'm bringing it to everybody's attention, Because you got
And
a
that's why I think it would be
38-page
great
document that's out here.
It would be great for every one of us to see that, even if we didn't put input in it. I would love for everyone to be informed
Oh, I
prior
agree.
to the retreat, so that we have, if we're not able to get them out, because it's so quick if we do it on the 8th, then I'd still like everybody to be informed about what that is, and we can just still discuss it, even if they're not there. So I still think the point is valid, definitely to put onto the agenda. But if you could send that out over the next few days to everybody, or send it to Sheila, and Sheila can send it out, then we can all study
Ulysses,
that.
how did they end up at your meeting?
They made a request to come out.
To whom?
They were doing this survey.
Who did they request?
They came through the, community engagement.
They came through you?
I think it's community engagement. Somehow I've got an email. I know that. Let me see.
Wait just a minute, Dr. Lane, I believe. If
Right.
this is the same people.
That did the survey.
Yeah, it's, what was it, 3 or 4 of us at that meeting that night at the
Cameron Village.
Village Library. I also went to another one that they had at the wetlands. And that one, it was quite a few of everybody, people from just anywhere.
Okay, well, I will take the note down to see if I can get, once we decide on a date, if I can get them to come out. But if you will send that out in case we're not able to, that would be appreciated. Okay, anything else coming from the other CACs?
Christina,
Yes, sir.
Along with community engagement, in my mind, community engagement is one of the weaknesses of the city right now. So as an overall project, I think the city as a whole should radically improve their community engagement. And the kind of messiness with this particular survey is an example of that. I mean, I was completely unimpressed by the community engagement associated with the Dix Master Plan. It didn't occur, and they're raving like it was something wonderful. It was not wonderful. It was awful. And I think the city needs to up their game big time, because it's our city. We should be involved. So somehow, I don't know how we get that across. I think taking on what has been suggested for the retreat is fine, but I think as a whole, we need to advocate for the city to up their game on this one.
Right. I mean, I completely agree. I think that we have to remember that we were there for 4 hours, and I'd like for us to accomplish, and I don't mean solve anything. I don't know if we can solve anything in 4 hours, but I want it to be attainable goals for us to discuss and set goals for the future on. So I don't want to.
So, where'd you get 4 hours from?
From 8 to 12, and then we eat.
And then from 12 to 2, we meet too.
I thought we ate for the last time. Do we meet again? I thought we had a. Okay, I just
we worked right through it.
Okay, so we work right through lunch. Okay, all right, so never mind. So we have 6 hours. My fault. Nonetheless, the point still stands that I'd like for us to have a few I don't want to overload our agenda with 10 things, thinking that we can solve everything and fix it. I want us to pick some main points. And what I'm hearing is the boundary committee is a big point. Engagement. How do we, as a CAC, aid in that? And help promote that and help our city staff. Because while they are not, I mean, the Greenway Master Plan said the same thing about Dix Park, and they were like, we don't want to be what Dix Park was, which is how we want to be involved in all of these things. So I would love for us to come up with action items on how we want to solve that problem. And then I know we kind of crossed out city council because they are at a retreat, but if we do pick a different date, I definitely think that's something that we could possibly do. So I'm thinking maybe 1 or 2 more bullet points to round out this meeting and really give us a meaty time on each topic instead of rushing through. Yes, sir.
One of the things that has been rolling through my mind in the past couple of years is, what else can the CACs do in Raleigh? It seems we focus on, rezoning issues, and then we've got 1 or 2 things. How do we deal with a retreat, et cetera? What else can we as CACs do? And I would like to have, a limited time brainstorming session where we just throw ideas out, and not necessarily that we resolve anything, but let's just think about all the things we could possibly do with our CACs. I would like more, how do we make our neighborhoods more engaged, somehow more fun? How do we throw a really good party? I don't know what, something like that.
Yeah, no, I like that. So what I'm hearing there is like, who are we as CACs? What do we represent? And what are we trying to accomplish at each meeting, other than rezonings? And how do we fit that in? So I think that's a really great, big hour and a half, 2 hour topic of what we can do. Yes, sir.
I still had something else to do
Oh,
with.
sir, I'm sorry
I had
about
two
that.
other things, but one other to do with engagement. Sheila sent out something about students doing something with a study, and I volunteered to be in that. I got an email today, and you need to know, and this is with this Dan Bagley, is working with them. So the students have put together a survey about CACs. And they want feedback from me and whoever else volunteered. So it's a nice little survey with about 5 questions. What efforts have been made to spread awareness of existence? What have your CACs done to make meetings more accessible? And a lot of little things about, how do you get the information out? Okay, this is another activity about CACs.
And when is that? When are your responses due by?
I just got the email today. I'll probably fill it out and send it back. But because, again, they had asked people to volunteer to work with this group. But again, they're surveying information on CACs. What are they going to do with that? And so if they're going to have us finding, or these students are going to make some kind of presentation, we need to find out about that. Maybe we need to be there.
May I?
And then, what's going to be done with that information. So here's another thing. If we don't keep these things out in front of us, they get away from us, and then we end with the results of somebody else doing something with it.
If may I speak?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this is really not new. What's new about it is that they're sending emails to the computer. Some years back, what they did was they had high school students coming from different schools, and we went out to them, and we actually had a table board, and they asked us questions from the floor. And so I guess that was a little bit too expensive. So
Is it possible to get them to come here?
I really don't know. Again, I'm just
No,
got
that's
this
great.
email today. I'm bringing this stuff to
Chapel Hill
No, I love it.
everybody's attention
that came out
so that we can look
before.
at, if we need to address this as a group.
I mean, I
Because
think
I'll be
it
involved.
definitely circles back to what Will just talked about. Who are we as a CAC? How are we outreaching? And this is in my opinion, just a really great opportunity for our youth who are asking these questions, and how we introduce ourselves to them, because I want them to come out. I want them to come and see what these meetings are about. So I think, initially I was like, well, let's answer those questions right now. Let's go and go on a round table. But I don't want to take everybody's time. But in lieu of that, I would love to have them here, just like we do want with the Greenway Master Plan, like you want with different other organizations. I would love for them to ask us these questions so we all could answer it in one setting.
Well, again, Sheila sent that out, and you see the way they did that. I'll just let you know, they got some timetable here. Just this is what they want to do, because they're getting feedback right now. They're going to have this meeting, looks like, around March 2nd. And they're going to hear, this is the pitch event, they call it. They're going to hear final solution pitches from students, teams that ask questions and workshop ideas in front of a live audience.
And this is all about CACs, or that's just one component
Well,
of this discussion?
I don't know.
Okay.
In the email, I think it said it was something about CAC, so I think it is. But okay, so this is CACs might be one. So anyway, so these students are going to collect this information, and they're going to present their findings, and they're going to have some kind of summary. So again, I'm bringing this to everybody's attention, and March 2nd, it looks like is when they're going to do that, according to this email.
That's great. And I'm wondering if it's something we can include in our retreat, and having them come and say, come talk to us, come sit with us at the retreat. And then I would be more than willing and love to go out on March 2nd to just sit and see what this is.
This is this relationship with Dan Bagley. What relationship do we have with Dan Bagley?
He's
Okay.
housing and
All right.
neighborhoods. Yeah.
So it's a matter of then talking with Dan Bagley and saying, hey,
Sheila, can you facilitate that for us? Can you see if they are available to come out for a half hour on our when we decide on a retreat date, and then reach out that we would love to be a part of it, whether it's just one or if there's a few of us that would like to go on March 2nd to represent the CACs. I'd love to open that dialogue. Thank you.
I
Go
have one
ahead.
other thing, but I don't want to hold you up. Go, I can get mine off very quickly. One other thing that came up that didn't get in the minutes, I had requested that we get some kind of a protocol for recognizing volunteers. And volunteers are officers that come off of CAC and the RCAC. Should get some kind of a recognition for the time these volunteers put in, for at least a certificate of appreciation or a trophy or something that not either comes from the RCAC, but also should come from the city council. So we need to discuss this and how that, I haven't seen that done. Most CACs will take care of our recognition. We have our award ceremony where we pick somebody in the community. We have a lot of volunteers that put a lot of time in on working at CACs, and I think it's good relationship to give them a certificate of appreciation from the RCAC or the city council or something. So I'd like to see us discuss that, how we want to approach that.
How to recognize outstanding individuals in your community.
Well, I'm just saying, not even outstanding, I'm saying recognition of officers that have met, and we can talk about officers that have met
Volunteering is outstanding.
their what do you call the bylaws. If they're in good standing with their bylaws, that's all you care about. Outstanding, you get into a different thing, but we could talk about that. If you want to do something that somebody did outstanding, that's a little different. But I'm just saying general recognition for being on this group.
Right.
You know, I don't remember when the chair left, what happened? No. Anybody?
Yeah.
Did we do anything?
No.
I mean, what is that? Yeah. What is this? I don't understand this. I've been in a lot of organizations. You get at least some kind of recognition. So anyway, I think we need to discuss that.
I think it's a very important topic.
Christina?
Yes, sir.
I still think if the dates were to work out eventually, that having the opportunity to meet the two at-large council members would
Right.
be very much to all of our advantages, theirs and ours.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else for the agenda?
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, Mr. Weeks.
I'm sorry.
No, we look at our agenda for our last retreat. You already mentioned a couple of things. The boundaries, that was our CAC issue, and then we talked about self-governance and CAC identity. That was our CAC for the last time. We're still talking about that now, so that's good. But then up under the CAC issue, membership, we already heard something on that, membership and participation, and also traffic and transit. Those are two issues they brought up. I still think those are still the problems that's out there today. And you say some issues that could be brought up, and we can try to see where we can go from there.
Okay.
But those are some of the items that we discussed at the last retreat.
Right.
But they are still open.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to try to get some clarification or something. So there's always going to be that traffic and transit. And there's also going to always be the membership and participation. And I think those are issues that we can continue to bring up at our retreat.
Okay, great.
So I have something.
Yes, sir. Go for it.
So you may notice that we recognize most of the people around this table because they usually show up. But some of you probably haven't met a couple of the people who should be attending these meetings. And I think we need to address that because we're not getting representation from those neighborhoods. And they're not getting information distributed back to them from here. So
Well,
I
your
think-
point is very well understood because I know in September we were going to do the bylaws vote and we couldn't do it because we didn't have enough people. So your point is well taken. Representation. Somehow. Understood.
I recall we had some discussion about how to handle something about officers that were not meeting the requirements. And this is part of that. So that's, I think, is what we need to clarify and make sure we follow up on. Did anybody recall what that discussion was? But it sounds like it's related to officers that are not fully participating or something like that.
I don't know, Donna, she spoke quite a bit on that, Donna Bailey. She was the person that really spoke quite a bit on that.
So what I'm thinking is, I'm putting all these ideas down. I think that they're all fantastic ideas. I would love to sit down with Sheila and the vice chairs, go through this list, and then send out what we establish is going to be time, the work within the timeframes, and really what our priorities will be for the agenda. And I'd like to see if there are any other thoughts before we close out any more agenda items and then move on to the date.
One thing I'd recommend, because we didn't get it last time, it was a great meeting. The facilitator kept things moving along, but the answers that we were after, we didn't get.
Right.
So I'd like to kind of put down a goal
Right.
for each one of the agenda items. It may be as simple as establish contact with the city council, or get the CE, whatever this is, in front of us. You know,
Right.
but the goals need to be understood so that we work toward them.
Exactly, and how we can hold each meeting, being able to hold it accountable to say, hey, our goal was this, and how are we reaching? How close are we coming to that? And making it part of every meeting is kind of what I'm hearing. Your metrics, you know, how to measure that. Okay,
That sounds good.
I completely agree. I'm gonna leave it open for one more second about agenda items for the retreat. And then let's move back onto the date, because I definitely want to solidify that so that we can secure a space and time.
So wait, what are the agenda items?
Right now, what we did is we brainstormed, and I'll tell you what I wrote down, and if I'm missing anything, let me know. I have the boundary committee. Depending on the date, we'll talk about city council being involved. And our engagement survey, the discussion of who we are as a CAC, possibly having the high school students come out to talk about their involvement with CACs and learning about us, how we recognize volunteers, traffic and transit, representation at our meetings, at our CAC meetings, and then we want to make goals for each agenda item.
So can I say, I think the thing about having counselors, I love when they come. I'm not sure that the retreat is the best place for that, because that's supposed to be a working meeting, not a hey, good to meet you meeting. That seems to me more like one of these meetings. Also, same thing with the high school students. Unless they're going to be part of a working aspect of the retreat, I think it's more appropriate for those two to come to a CAC meeting, a monthly CAC meeting, as opposed to the retreat. The retreat's once a year. That's when we're supposed to be working on, working stuff out and getting in groups. And I don't know that that's the best time for these little short presentations that these groups would be coming and doing. That's
Okay.
my personal opinion.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I think like I said, what we'll do is I'll take this list of brainstormed ideas. So before we decide exactly what it is, I'll confer with Sheila and our two vice chairs about what we feel is going to be pressing and the most important for us to discuss. And then I'll send that out. As long as we're all good with these being the agenda items, possible agenda items.
One of the
Yes, sir.
comments I wanted to make was we need to make sure we establish priorities on all of the lists. That's a very aggressive, ambitious list.
Right.
So we need to pare that down so we can actually deal with some of the issues
Right.
successfully.
Right. So today is the
15th.
15th. I would like to move on to solidifying a date of when we're going to do this, so then I can say, okay, I'm going to meet and we're going to have an agenda out for your review prior to, and we'll have it by a certain date. But I want to make sure that I have the correct date that we're meeting so I can backtrack and get those out to you in time. So we've talked about the 8th. And are there any other proposals for dates? I know that we just said that the 8th isn't going to work.
I think
Okay.
I
So,
think the 29th would give a little more time for prep and avoid having people miss who are already scheduled for something that day. You guys, right?
I think talking with John, what we'll do, if it conflicts, council mayor requested that the council make a trip to downtown South the afternoon of their retreat. That's something that John and I are going to have to be there, be square for, without a doubt. So we can't fix everybody's problems, so do what you got to do. We'll leave early if we have to, but we're going to be at downtown South.
What date is that?
the 8th.
The 8th. That's fairly recent news.
Right. Okay, so I'm hearing two dates. I'm hearing the 8th and the 29th. Does anyone else have another date they'd like to propose that we vote on?
My opinion, as all it's worth, is that the 8th is a bit soon if I had to plan it.
Right, so we have the 29th. Are there any other dates that we would like to vote on?
Some of us gonna run into the same thing that he's running into for the 29th.
What's on the 29th?
We're having basketball tournaments, and I know myself and others will be in the Charlotte area.
On the 29th?
CIAA tournament, right. Let's see a double A.
He's playing.
Yes.
Yeah, he's playing.
Yes, I'm playing. All right.
Is there another date you'd like to suggest, other than the 8th and the 29th?
How about the 22nd? We haven't discussed the 22nd.
That works, actually.
That's the
let's
one,
do-
that's the one in Abbott's Creek, and it.
The
So it was a
22nd.
9 o'clock start time.
9 o'clock.
So we have 3 dates. I'm hearing the 8th, the 22nd, the 29th. Let's take a vote
Wait,
and
wait.
see.
Where was Abbott's Creek at? Was that where we
That's
met last year?
the, yes.
Way out in the middle of nowhere?
Yes.
Early in the morning?
Yeah, it really is.
It's a wet north.
Population lives up
All
there.
right.
Like Wake Forest area, yes, that's,
So the date determines the
I
location.
would really like to suggest, I know that we contacted these places, Sheila, but I would, the Thomas Crowder Center, which is over by Athens High School,
That works for me, that's, I can walk that one.
that would be a very good location.
Visit my district.
What?
It's not convenient for Chuck.
That's pretty fun. Oh, it's totally great for me, but it's far south.
Yeah, but I don't know what, if they have a nice meeting room.
mm-hmm.
That's a couple of
do.
them. I know where the blinds are.
Yeah.
Is that feasible to possibly reach out to them and see if they have available space and time?
For the same date, the 8th, the 15th, 22nd, and 29th.
Yeah. and just send us an email.
Well, let's
I
put
think we
that-
need to solidify the date
problem.
first.
So
Pick some dates.
why would you go over there and do
think,
the same dates?
All right.
And probably like the 22nd. I
22nd
think
of
it seems like the
February.
day that works for everybody.
Check on the Thomas
And then locations
Crowder.
up in the air.
Let's just,
I'm gonna make an executive decision here, because otherwise we're gonna have, and I'm not even an
Circles.
executive.
yeah, I'm like, wait, no.
Leadership, but
No.
Somebody needs to pick something.
I think we are going to vote on a date. And then when we get the date, then we can see if Thomas Crowder, space is available on that date. And if not, we'll have a backup of one of these. Does that sound fair? Okay, great. So we have 3 dates. If you will just raise your hand for a specific date, we will vote by majority. So if everyone in favor of February 8th, please raise your hand.
How many times we can vote?
5.
5.
How many times can we vote? Is this your one-time preference vote?
Right, yes. So we have 5 for the 8th. Voting for the 15th, if you'll raise your hand.
We only vote once?
That's what I was asking, yeah.
Yes.
She asked, yeah.
The 22nd.
It seems like the one in the middle.
We only get to vote once.
Did you already vote?
2 of us.
Oh, wait.
6.
All right, one more time for the 22nd.
22nd, one more time?
22nd. I got 1, 2, 3, 4.
One vote per CAC?
Yes,
CAC?
per CAC, yes.
Oh,
I've got
sorry,
4.
Mishi.
So we're at 4 right now.
Okay, 1, I got Glenwood,
Northwest.
Northwest,
East.
East, Atlantic. That's 4, right?
That's 4. And then the last date is the 29th.
Sorry, Eugene.
1,
I
2,
really- It doesn't matter to me, to be
1,
honest.
2. So,
We voted for, we haven't.
huh? I voted for the 22nd.
That's so crazy.
Okay, 22nd.
That's part of that 4.
They always have me no
What, what were the numbers for the 8th? What was the number for the 15th? The 22nd and the 29th. So the 8th has 1.
Does the 8 work for
See, that's
enough
how you-
The
people?
8th.
I mean, that just seems early.
All right,
That just
so
seems
we
early.
will be having our retreat on the 8th.
All right.
Do we still want to look, are we good at the Wetland Center?
Can you remind me how long is it 9 to 5? How long does it last?
9
9 to 2.
9 to 2, that's right, okay.
Right.
No, it's 8:30 to 2.
Well, she comes in and sets up at 8:30. We don't start till 9.
Last
Guess
one
they
whenever
went
you
for
need
the
to
8th.
go.
Yeah.
Usually around 2.
It used to be 9 to 3.
We've got 13 CACs represented here. How'd we only end up with 11 votes?
Do you want to just go down around like this?
There's 2
Can't
people.
vote with one.
No, I'm counting CACs, not people.
Oh.
I got 13 CACs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Is there a CAC that did not vote?
8, 9, 10,
I mean, I can't make them
11,
vote.
12. I only count 12 CACs.
Either,
I counted 5 votes, but I don't know if that was 5 CACs or that was 5 individuals.
I don't know, just pick a date and let's
Go
go.
down the list here. Christina, Robert, Joshua, Kate, Shalissa, Deborah, Judy, Will,
Yeah, Judy and Robert are both one CIC.
Yeah.
12.
Mm-hmm.
Be 12.
I voted for the 22nd by proxy.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we are at the 8th. And are we all good with the Wetlands Center?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we are going to meet the 8th, February 8th at the Wetlands Center we'll be starting there at 8:30, but we probably won't, we'll have breakfast and won't start the meeting till 9.
This is at the Walnut Creek Wetland Center.
Yes, ma'am. I wish we could have mimosas.
That'd be fantastic.
Do we need to vote on catering, or you guys are handling that with?
Has anybody ever worked with the place downtown? It's called A Place at the Table, and it's one of those pay whatever you feel you want to pay. And then they also do catering, is what I've just been told in the last month. So I thought that might be a neat thing to try. But they don't do supper foods, so they might be a good one for breakfast and lunch for something like this. I don't even know exactly where it is, but my friend volunteers there. So
Aren't we restricted to like an approved list? Would they be able to?
can they do that in the next 2 weeks? Maybe we should push
I
that
think
back for another
we can
event.
still pursue it for the future, so I
Yeah.
think we should definitely look to get them on the, but for this meeting, because it is happening so fast, I would suggest we just stick with Kaplan.
Yep, that sounds good.
And then Sheila, can we get an approved vendor list so we know who else we can choose? Right, yeah, okay, great, thank you so much.
Be awesome.
That would be great. And that is everything that I have on the list. I will open the floor for any comments or questions. I would love to hear if you have things coming up in your CAC that you'd like us all to attend, if you guys are having a party or whatnot. I would love to hear that. Nothing?
Well, I will,
I know, I forgot, I'm sorry. It was a busy month. That's totally me. I would love to have a real excuse other than I was being a horrible person. I'm gonna make sure to come. I will. I'm sorry about that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to having people on the agenda to come to the RCAC, what is the process?
I usually receive requests and I forward it to the leadership.
And is there a cutoff date? Like if for April, do they have until 2 weeks prior to the meeting to submit a request to be on the agenda? Like, or is that not something that we've done before?
They usually submit it way in advance. Because I have to let you all know that you have to decide, and then I have to get back in front of you.
So the process, from what I'm understanding, is that if you have an organization that would like to come or whatnot, to send it to Sheila, and then Sheila will forward it, and we'll discuss, and then approve, and then you'll respond back? Or do we need to respond back? Okay. Does that clarify it at all?
Yeah, okay. Okay. That's what I'm saying. If I had some. Okay. And what's the time limit? What's the time frame?
At least 3 to 4 weeks in advance, only because we have to pull up the entire
Okay.
together, send it to them.
A month or more, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they have to approve it, and before we post it, we want to make sure everything is okay.
So just to clarify that, the time limit is a month. So it would be a month turnaround to be approved and then put onto the agenda for any groups that you'd like to bring in front of the RCAC.
A month or more, right?
I'm sorry.
A month or more?
A month ahead, yeah,
Okay.
yes, a month ahead or more.
I'd like to get an update on the live streaming and the equipment, because we've been trying to do live streaming, and I don't understand what's happening with the equipment that we thought we were going to try.
Do you not have access to the Mevo cameras?
We have, yes, the cameras, but we asked for some other equipment.
Spots.
Yeah, so I'd like some update.
Well, I did I forward you? I know the question was, some of the centers don't have enough internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were running into.
Right.
The capability.
So are you saying that even with the hotspot, that wouldn't even help because it doesn't have the bandwidth to hold it?
So, I mean, okay, we haven't settled this. Why did it drop? See, there's another thing to follow up to resolve the issue. Now, we decided we want to have live streaming, what's the issue, and how do we address it and correct it? Otherwise, we're gonna forget about it.
Let's do Netgear, try to boost the existing internet that's already there. That wasn't really a good idea, a good goal. But we were trying to move towards something. The Netgear boost wasn't strong enough. Then we found out that the bandwidth in certain community centers wasn't strong. And that's a whole nother issue that I don't think you all know.
The other option, which we have, because we're running the same thing with Northwest, is on the Mevo, you do have the option to record. So you may not be able to live stream because we don't have the bandwidth to do it, but you can record it and then post it on your social media platform. What I have run into, and thank you so much for bringing this up because I forgot about it, is that because I don't have the Mevo and it goes with the city and the community analyst, I can't post it. I can record it all day long, but since I'm in charge of posting it, but my community analyst takes it, I can't post anything.
Well, I know inside the Mevo, there's a little microchip that you can probably use. But we need those back because they will be constantly ordering chips if they get lost.
Well, I mean, there's only 4 cameras, so if I take the chip and then I prevent somebody else from getting it, I mean, can we buy more chips?
Well, I think if you wanted to, you could buy your own chip from your CAC.
True.
Record it on that.
That's a good
and
idea.
then just give the camera back with their chip in it.
That's a good idea. Okay. How many people are having internet issues at their CAC meetings so you're not able to live stream?
And what's been happening, some people have just been using their own phone.
Their own phone, yeah. That's
So,
what we
you know,
do.
if people can use their own phone and do it, but we can't use what we have, I don't understand.
They're probably using a cellular upload as opposed to the local Wi-Fi.
I mean, we really want to do this. We need to just really address the issue and get the professional in here to tell us what we need to do. Otherwise, we need to scrap it.
So I
Can't
think
scrap that money.
it might be an opportunity when you discuss things with the city council
Definitely.
to say that some of the community centers don't have enough bandwidth to allow us to live stream, and give it to them, to give to the
why
city
is that?
manager and get those things
Yeah.
fixed.
That's definitely.
All the community centers, you know, the newer ones are better off than the old ones. It's just like the schools.
Right.
The newer ones are better than the old ones. But sometime we gotta catch up. So
Yeah,
if
but
the
I mean,
community
that's not
center
like
isn't
an
caught up,
infrastructure
let's get it
thing.
caught
They
up.
should just upgrade the whatever they're paying AT&T or Sprint or whatever. They don't have to like build new infrastructure for it. It should just be like a service upgrade.
Yeah. So, sounds like an easy fix if we can get them to do it.
Yeah.
And
Right,
the
so
other,
go
other
ahead.
question in the meantime about the chip, because I don't really feel that CAC should, I don't know how much the chip costs.
Dollars.
Buy the chips, let's give the extra chips out, okay? Chips don't cost, that's what we got a budget, get some more chips. Give each CAC a chip, and we give that chip back and take the one out the thing. You know?
My CAC will buy the chips. Okay?
Well, we had a hotspot budget this year that we're not using because it didn't work, so we can just use that budget. I'm assuming, I'll talk it over, but I think that's an easy fix to get more than enough.
I'll volunteer to do the tech research in terms of a good brand, model, size, adapter, all that sort of business. So, what's that?
Okay. All right. Anything else so I can get you guys back home on time? Yes, sir.
We have a couple things going on in the Hillsborough Wade CAC I would like to mention.
Well, can you put the microphone in front of me?
I apologize.
Thank you.
We have some action going on in the Hillsborough Wade CAC at our meeting this month, which is the 28th at the JC Center. We have 2 new council members coming in to give their, kind of introduce themselves to us, Sage Martin and Jonathan Melton. And then at the March meeting, and that is the 24th of March at the JC Center, the new director of the Parks and Recreation Department is going to come in, Oscar Carmona, to tell us kind of his vision and to talk about some of the big things that are on the docket for Raleigh coming up.
Great.
And it might be a good idea, Christine, if we got them to come in here too.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Will, what was the date on the council member meeting?
That is going to be this month on the 28th. Yeah, we meet the fourth Tuesday of every month.
March
28th?
24th.
28th, starts at 7 in J.C. Park Community Center.
That's not a council member, not council meeting night?
It's a Tuesday.
It's not.
They have committed to coming.
You know, traditionally, it's been difficult to
Right.
go to Hillsborough Wade because
Right.
your meeting is the same night as
Right.
council.
They're new, they might not know.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna
this-
hold them to
this
it, I gotta
month-
tell
it's
you.
February. So it's the first Tuesday and the third Tuesday?
No, it's the last Tuesday.
The last Tuesday.
The 28th.
It's the fourth Tuesday. Oh, you're talking, you're
Yeah,
talking council members.
Yeah, I'm talking about council meeting. It's the first and third. And you're saying the 28th
Is the
of
fourth.
February,
Fourth
Right.
Tuesday.
Right.
January. Yeah, that's the
January.
fourth, so they won't be in a meeting because that's the first and
Right,
third that they meet.
right,
So,
right.
yeah, so that's January 28th. Okay. All right.
See, we have
Yes.
the new park superintendent coming to our meeting on March 8th, the second Monday. The second Monday in March, yes.
So that's going to be the 9th,
I mean, the 9th, right, yes.
right? So March 9th, you have a superintendent?
No, I was talking about the one that, the new, person that
council.
took over for Diane South, yes. Park.
Oh, the park. Oh, okay.
So he's coming to our, we invited him to come and introduce himself.
Oh, great, so he'll
Because we
be at
found
this
out
one and
that
then
he
that
will
one.
also still be getting briefings
Right,
from his department chair, so he won't be up to date on anything.
right.
So we have him come in and introduce himself.
Okay.
Next month, we have the presentation from the budget department.
Mm-hmm. At Southwest.
Last time we had that, it was real good, actually.
Yeah, it was good last year for us too. All right, anything else, any other happenings going on?
Everyone should have received an invite to a calendar, and we all have access to go in and add events. I
Right
just
now?
added the retreat, that's it. You can go ahead and add.
Oh my God, thank you so much. You're amazing.
Everyone has access.
Awesome, I appreciate that, thank you.
That's okay.
All right.
You need more calendars on my computer.
Mhm.
For people that, I'm sorry, people that what?
Who doesn't have Gmail?
Oh, that's me, yeah.
It'll still send, I still send an invite.
I'll let Joshua take care of that, I'm good, thank you. Thank you, though, for setting that up.
Yes, thank you for setting that up so quickly.
I would like to throw in too, if you haven't had Public Works come and give their sewer briefing, do it.
Highly recommended.
Oh,
Highly
God, we
recommended.
Public Works coming up, awesome. All right, any other announcements
Yeah,
before we
we just,
adjourn?
we had staff talk about it a little bit about the Southeast study project that they're gonna be doing because of the expansion areas going out, rock quarry on that side, between probably Nightdale, Wendell, and Garner. All of that area is being looked at because their 540 is gonna come around there. And also they're putting a sewer pipe through there. So once they put that sewer system through there, people can connect. So we're gonna see a lot of growth out our way. So we have a lot of challenges on rezoning and annexing and everything. So it's going over people's heads right now, but it's gonna develop.
Okay, thank you.
Also, I sent you the survey that Ulysses was talking about earlier, so you don't, I sent the survey.
Which one?
The one you were talking about earlier.
Thank you.
So she can send it out. Yep.
Can, I know that at RCAC, at West CAC, and I don't remember if the RCAC has spoken about it, but we were talking about maybe increasing eyes and getting more people aware of the CACs by putting it on the water bill. Did anybody ever, anybody ever follow up or find out who is the person that writes those, or who are the people in the water department that write those bills so that we could get, I'm talking about that one-page flyer. It seems like it would really not kill them to put something in there about the CACs. It could be a separate little insert if it need be, but they have that newsletter, and I thought they could just put 2 paragraphs on that newsletter that wouldn't even cost, the CACs could chip in to put a little piece of paper in there. We've done that in the past, but since they have the newsletter, if they could just put it on the newsletter instead of a whole separate sheet of paper, that might be an easy way. I don't know how many people read those. I know I do, but that's one.
This has been brought
Two,
up. At
thank
the
you,
last-
Michael.
This has
Sorry.
been brought up at the last 2 retreats we've had.
Had this particular issue, has anything been followed through? Like, I don't even know who to ask to find out who writes those.
At the meeting that we had with Linda and with whatever his name was, and he told us, oh, they're a different department and very difficult to work with, or something nonsense like that, and that was where it laid.
And just blew it off? I mean,
Yeah.
excuse me, but
But
yeah.
I think this is another topic that Christina could approach the city council on and say, you know, we're very interested in gaining greater membership and greater activity, so maybe you could direct the city manager to let the utility department put a blurb out there once every 3 or 4 months about CACs.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all we're asking.
Okay.
Yep. Talk to city
Another
council.
idea was the MLS, that once,
Soccer.
when people come in, no, I'm sorry, real estate.
Oh.
When people want to come into the area, come into the city, move here, all they can do is look on the MLS. The real estate agent can say, well, hey, you'll be in West CAC, you'll be in East CAC, you'll be there. And I did approach some people that I thought knew what they were doing about that, you know, but nothing was done. But I thought that was one of the best ways to get out about
Especially
CACs.
to all the new people that are moving into town.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Last week, U-Haul announced that Raleigh took the #1 spot for incoming movers nationwide, so.
And then a big thing is how, in your opinions, do we reach out to apartments? MLS is a great idea, but there's a big part of our population that are renters that are also part of our CACs that I feel are underrepresented.
Well, who do they rent from?
I think there's many I don't know if there's one agency that does.
Well, that's what I'm
but,
saying.
yeah.
Whomever they rent from could be the outlet to give them the information that CACs.
Right, so we would need to just reach out. I mean, there's thousands of apartment
Triangle-
complexes that.
Triangle
we-
Rental, Renters Association, I think is the big.
Triangle Renters
is the
Association.
Rental Association, it's the big, group that most commercial.
Yeah,
what
maybe-
is it?
Association.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
okay.
Maybe we could
and
do
they
a
have they
presentation
have
to
a
that
booklet and it goes
association.
around all the
Yeah.
apartments.
The Real Estate Commission might be able to help us with the MLS
Okay.
as far as apartments.
Real Estate Commission?
Apartments might be trickier because you have to reach out to specific developers.
Right, because there's thousands of different, yeah. But those are just thoughts that I'd like to keep on our minds, that we have a whole section of our population that I don't feel, may feel they're part of it, and they are. Everyone who lives in the city is part of CACs. So, great. I really appreciate all of the ideas for the agenda and the feedback as we move forward. And I'm really looking forward to next month at our retreat, being able to solidify some of these and set some attainable goals for us over the next year to really make this CAC more inclusive and outreaching to more people in our community. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate you guys being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, unless we have anything else, Mr.
One more.
Michael. Yes.
So I recommend that people who suggested agenda items for this, put down what your goal is and send it to Christina, what the goal of that
That's a great idea.
agenda item is.
Great.
Okay? So that way we'll have a plan.
Awesome. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and have a great
Motion to
few
adjourn.
weeks. Motion to adjourn, please. Yes? I just get to say adjourn? We are adjourned, yes.
I second
Have the power.